Most people who think they understand what happens when they sleep are still dreaming. They collect information, read esoteric books, memorize quotes from spiritual teachers, and believe that knowledge is equivalent to experience. They are asleep in the truest sense, and sleep is not merely the absence of consciousness. It is an entrance into a domain where consciousness expands beyond the familiar boundaries of body and time. There is a test happening every night, a subtle examination that separates those who truly understand the soul from those who only imagine that they do. It is quiet, invisible, unannounced. It does not require chanting, candle rituals, or mystical apparatus. The soul passes or fails by its own measure, unnoticed by the ego, unfathomable to the ordinary mind. Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, understood this. He describes sleep not as a mere pause in our physical existence, but as an active journey of the soul. While the body rests, the soul emerges from its physical confines. It passes through layers of consciousness, shedding the weight of the three-dimensional world. Cayce suggested that dreams, visions, and intuitions during sleep are not random. They are communications from the soul to the self, glimpses into the deeper currents that shape our lives. What does it mean to say that the soul moves while the body sleeps? It means that time as we know it no longer constrains experience. Past, present, and future are traversed not linearly, but as a continuum. Every memory, every desire, every fear, every love, these are coordinates in a vast inner landscape, and sleep allows the soul to explore them freely. Most people wake up feeling nothing has changed, yet something has. The shift is subtle, often imperceptible. The soul returns to the body, carrying fragments of experiences from other realms. That feeling when the world seems slightly altered, yet everyone else moves as though nothing has happened. This is the echo of the soul's journey. Cayce spoke of the inner consciousness, a dimension where the soul evaluates, reflects, and rebalances. He taught that what we experience in sleep influences our physical, emotional, and spiritual health. Our dreams, often dismissed as meaningless fragments, are in fact carefully orchestrated lessons. They reveal unresolved patterns, latent talents, and hidden truths. They allow the soul to integrate experiences that the waking mind cannot yet comprehend. Most people approach sleep as an escape. They collapse into the darkness, hoping for rest, unaware that sleep is a gateway. To truly understand the soul, one must observe sleep not as a cessation, but as a continuation. The body may be inert, but the soul is moving, working, healing, remembering. Consider this. When you are asleep, the soul leaves the body's immediate sensory world. Cayce said that the soul experiences levels of reality that operate on different vibratory frequencies. These frequencies are not metaphors. They are tangible states of being that the soul navigates. Some experiences are luminous, radiant, filled with clarity. Others are shadowed, dense, and heavy. The soul moves freely through them all, encountering lessons, guides, and occasionally other souls. What the world calls dreams are sometimes the tip of this iceberg. Some nights, you remember nothing. The journey occurred beyond the reach of memory, beyond the grasp of the conscious mind. This is normal. The soul does not seek applause or recognition. It does not care if the ego records its adventures. It simply moves, explores, and integrates. There is a final test of consciousness hidden in sleep. It is not announced. It is not documented. It is passed or failed silently. You pass when you stop trying to pass. You fail only if you resist the journey, if you cling to the illusion that your mind is the master of all dimensions. Most people cling. Most people try to force understanding through willpower, through memorization, through control. They awaken only to discover that nothing has changed. Sleep teaches surrender. It shows that control is an illusion. When the soul leaves the body, it encounters possibilities, trajectories, and events that are not bound to the waking world. Cayce described encounters with past lives, with future possibilities, with archetypal energies that inform our character and destiny. These experiences are subtle, often symbolic, but they are real. They are the soul's laboratory, where consciousness experiments with being. The surrender that sleep requires mirrors the surrender that life demands. You cannot hold on. You cannot grip the intangible. You must release. This is why sleep is also a metaphor for spiritual awakening. Every night, the soul demonstrates the truth. You are more than the body, more than the mind, more than the persona you wear in daylight. You are consciousness itself, temporarily inhabiting a form, and yet waking reveals how deeply asleep most remain. We rush into routines, distracted, unconsciously avoiding the lessons of the night. Dreams are forgotten. Intuition is ignored. Signs from the soul go unnoticed. Cayce warned against this. He said that remembering even fragments of the soul's nocturnal journey allows integration that transforms the waking life. Health improves, relationships deepen, clarity emerges, energy flows, frequency shifts. Most people who are asleep within their sleep wake to repeat patterns. The soul attempts to teach, to guide, to reveal, but the ego resists. The next night, the same lessons reappear, often more urgently. Patterns of fear, attachment, and unresolved emotion replay. The soul persists, patient and infinitely creative, until the consciousness begins to listen. The soul's movement during sleep is not random. It is purposeful, strategic, and inherently intelligent. Some nights, it may revisit moments of unresolved trauma. Other nights, it may explore potential futures, showing possibilities that remain hidden to the waking mind. These glimpses are not meant to produce anxiety. They are invitations to awareness. They are the subtle architecture of growth, the scaffolding of transformation that operates while the body rests. Cayce described a hierarchy of experiences where the soul might interact with spiritual guides, other incarnated souls, or even non-incarnated beings, learning lessons that transcend the boundaries of linear time. He emphasized that sleep allows the soul to participate in a realm governed not by cause and effect as we know it, but by resonance, vibration, and intention. Imagine a night where the soul visits another life, another form, another plane of existence. You may awaken with a feeling of déjà vu, of profound familiarity, or with insight that cannot be traced to your waking knowledge. This is not fantasy. It is the soul's natural navigation. And if you are sensitive, if you pay attention, you begin to notice patterns, the connections between sleep and waking, dream and decision, intuition and action. What does this mean for consciousness? It means that the soul is always awake, always active. The body sleeps, the ego dreams, the mind rests, but the essence of you moves with full awareness. The night becomes a laboratory for the refinement of consciousness. Through these nocturnal voyages, the soul learns mastery over attachment, over fear, over limitation. It experiences freedom, then returns to the body to translate that freedom into lived reality. Most people awaken and ignore this, but some notice the subtle transformations. They notice the change in frequency, the shift in emotional resilience, the increase in intuition, the sudden disappearance of relationships that no longer resonate. Energy vampires leave quietly. Conflict becomes less gripping. Life flows differently, softer, more lucid. They cannot explain why, but they feel the difference in every cell. This is the echo of the soul's nocturnal journeys. Other writers, such as Robert Monroe and William Buhlman, explored similar terrain. They described out-of-body experiences as a natural extension of sleep consciousness. The soul, freed from the physical vessel, explores, interacts, and learns. These experiences are often reported as vivid, multidimensional, and governed by principles that defy three-dimensional logic. The rules of linear time, physical limitation, and egoic hierarchy no longer apply. Sleep is therefore not rest. Sleep is rehearsal. Sleep is integration. Sleep is transcendence in microcosm. Each night, the soul passes through a series of orchestrated experiences designed to harmonize body, mind, and spirit. Every dream, every memory, every symbol is a note in this symphony. To ignore it is to cut oneself off from the natural flow of intelligence that sustains life. And yet, the ego insists on control. We strive to remember, to interpret, to analyze. But the true magic of the soul's journey lies in the surrender to experience. To pass the test of sleep, you must stop trying to remember everything. You must stop trying to force meaning. You must allow the unconscious to work its alchemy. Cayce advised journaling dreams, meditating upon fragments, and paying attention to intuitive nudges that arise upon waking. These are the gateways to understanding the nocturnal journeys. Not for ego gratification, not for display, but for integration. The lessons are practical: balance, clarity, emotional resilience, alignment with life purpose. The soul works quietly, efficiently, and tirelessly, while the mind often remains oblivious. Most people never realize the profound activity of the soul during sleep. They remain bound to the three-dimensional perspective, blind to the orchestration of higher consciousness. They dream within dreams, thinking that their waking awareness is the totality of being. The soul knows better. It moves, it interacts, it learns, it teaches. It passes lessons we cannot yet grasp. It heals wounds we cannot yet identify. It prepares us for the challenges of waking life with infinite patience. The final test of sleep is subtle. It is not in memorizing a dream or achieving lucidity. It is in the silent recognition that the soul moves freely, that consciousness transcends the body, that reality is vaster than the senses suggest. You pass when you stop trying to control, stop seeking, stop demanding proof. You pass when you accept the mystery and align with the intelligence that animates all life. Cayce described the soul's journeys as opportunities to confront one's higher self, to reconcile karmic patterns, to integrate forgotten knowledge. Each night, the soul is offered choices. Each night, it navigates lessons in trust, in love, in wisdom. And each morning, if we are attentive, fragments return: dreams, intuition, insight, a subtle change in vibration, a faint whisper of truth that permeates our being. Sleep is a mirror of the ultimate spiritual journey. In sleep, the soul learns surrender. In sleep, it experiences freedom. In sleep, it explores the true dimensions of existence. In waking, we are called to translate that wisdom into action, to live from the understanding that consciousness is not confined to the body, that life is not limited to the ticking of the clock or the weight of the flesh, but is part of a vast continuum where beginnings and endings dissolve into one eternal flow.